Is this the end of Google?
Oh man, I'm so excited. Man, there are so many boardroom meetings happening right now. We're like, this has never happened before. So, right into our first news item. Google search has slipped below 90% for the first time since 2015. I don't know if you know how earth-shattering that is because Google became a verb. Googling it became a verb. Now people are grokking it because people are finding it's more efficient to go to your AI of choice, ask it your question, and get an answer than it is to go into Google and have to pick your answer from a list of blue links that you don't know where you're going. You might get a virus from them. It's trying to put a pop-up on your screen or whatever. People just want to skip the trouble. They just want to go directly to the AI answer. Thomas, what's your thought?
Well, first off, let us know in the chat if you've moved away from Google. I think there's two factors that are impacting this. First is that Google searches are getting worse. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people are so frustrated with the quality of their Google searches that they are adding the word Reddit to the end of their search because they're tired of getting ads and getting sent to kind of worthless places, which is exactly what Google was founded to not be. Like, that's what Don't Be Evil means. That's what happened to Alta Vista. And it's so tempting to just add more ads and make more money rather than sending people to useful places. So that's the first problem, is that Google's getting worse. But the second problem is that AI is getting better. AI is so much more useful at answering questions. So for instance, I'm working on a new episode we're releasing next week called How to Publish Your Book in 2025. It's a complete soup to nuts, blank page to launched book episode, all in one episode. And I wanted to, in the blog version, feature the fonts that Vellum has as options and rank them from the most pages to the least pages. Now, I could have Googled this and done the math myself. I could have. I have a calculator right here, Jonathan Trigger. I could have done it. But I was like, you know what? You know who's really good at doing math? Grok is really good at doing math. And so I just said, rank the fonts of Vellum. And it pulled up the Vellum website, searched through the search documentation, looked up the fonts, looked up their density. And then for a 100,000 word book, it did the math and ranked them. And you could wait for my blog post to come out on Wednesday where I will share that information with you, or you could ask Grok right now, or you could try to find the answer on Google. And if you do, God bless you and good luck. So it's this kind of searching where AI is so much better because it's giving you what you actually want. So there was a famous board meeting where they're talking about people aren't buying a hammer, they're buying a hole in the wall. To hang their picture. And it's like, are they? Or are they what they're really paying for? Or what they really want is just a way to hang their picture. And 3M is like, we could create a tab that lets people hang the picture on the wall without ever putting a hole in the wall. And they created the command tabs. And that's now a product that's worth like millions and millions of dollars. And it required them to abandon the whole thinking of, you have to put a hole in the wall to hang a picture. And I remember when I was a kid, I was in speech and debate when Google came out or when I discovered Google. So the first half of that year of speech and debate, we're using Hotbot and Alta Vista and all the competitors, and they're all awful. And the rule was you had to really find stuff at the library because you couldn't trust what you found on the internet. And then Google came out, and it was like the choir was singing, the angels were glowing, and now we had this magical search engine that wasn't packed full of ads that gave us the answer to our question. We still had to read out the URLs in the debate rounds for every piece of evidence that was on the internet, which finally they got rid of that rule.
But didn't librarians lose their jobs, Thomas?
Yep, the very last librarian closed the door on the very last library back in 2023, as everyone knows.
Yep.
We have a new library in our town. We went there, and it was packed full of people and had lots of computers and just full of books, and they seem to be doing just fine. So I don't feel sad for Google. I do think this is possibly the beginning of the end of search engines generally and Google specifically. We'll still have them for a really long time, but I think for authors, If you haven't experimented with Grok's deep search, you've got to give it a shot because it is just astoundingly useful at helping you answer the kinds of questions you want answers to in order to have a well-researched book.
Well, I did this research so that none of you would have to. I watched the Yoast SEO update this past week and
Okay,
sat there.
Stop. First, we have to explain what SEO stands for, Jonathan.
What?
SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's an ancient practice of making your website bot friendly. And it turns out there are now more kinds of bots that want your website to be bot friendly. So it's not just a matter of ranking on Google, but it also helps you rank on Bing and on Brave and on all of the AI engines. So we're going to summarize, and by we, I mean Jonathan, going to summarize this hour-long technical presentation to just the parts that matter for authors that you can implement right away. Go.
We call it breaking it down Barney style. First of all, Pinterest is emerging as the go-to search engine for Gen Z for making conversions. If you're doing shopping as a Gen Zer, it turns out 39% of you are going to Pinterest in order to be able to do that. So for those of you that are trying to reach Gen Zers with your books, you may want to take a look at Pinterest and Pinterest marketing. Google AI Overviews is reaching 1.5 billion users a month. So right now, it is more important than ever to use structured, clear content with tons of rich data on your website and your blogs. This is talking about, I'm going to throw buzzwords at you, and then I'm going to explain the buzzwords, okay? We're talking semantic SEO, which means instead of using keywords, you're now AI bots are going to be trawling the topic itself. They're going to be looking at the chunk of data associated with it, including images, including videos, everything that's going to be associated with it you're going to have. We're moving away from a keyword optimized SEO where you could just have like the right words in there and the bots would find you. Now it's looking more at topical clustering, which means they're going to look at the topic itself and pull it from that.
And this is a trend that's been going on for a long time. The days of people going to Google and typing just a single word went away over a decade ago. People have been typing in whole sentences into Google for a really long time, but now they're having conversations with AI bots that might be a whole paragraph or pages worth of text, and it's using that information to surface answers. And PJ's like, Pinterest, really? One of the interesting things about AI is that it's really doing a first shall be last and the last shall be first thing to social networks. So
yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, the three kings, completely meaningless and worthless for AI. They have no impact. They don't help you in any measurable way. TikTok is completely sandboxed away from all the AIs that people use. And Meta's Facebook and Instagram only seem to kind of sort of influence Llama, which literally no one uses. Like, it's just nobody uses it. Meanwhile, Goodreads suddenly has become way important. Pinterest, everyone's like, who's on Pinterest? What the heck? Pinterest, really important. And so these otherwise not important social networks have become very important. And
well,
the bottom line is, though, don't invest too much on social media because that social network you invested 10 years in could fall off the hill and completely tumbling down overnight, right? TikTok is one presidential signature away from disappearing. Because remember, Congress passed and the president signed a bill banning TikTok. Literally the only person in the world preventing TikTok from being banned is Donald Trump. He could change his mind and stop preventing the ban tonight, and then TikTok would be gone tomorrow.